Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather. Today we're going to be starting a video where I read books that have animals in the title, and then we're going to talk about some fun animal facts as well. I said that really weird, sorry. As well. And all of these books are thriller/horror books. Very excited about this. I've been wanting to do this video for a while now. It's been in the works for a long time. So the books that I have picked out: When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. I've heard that this is more of like a metaphorical wolf than anything, but I've heard nothing but good things about this. This was also, I believe, in the Goodreads Choice Awards category, I think. Am I wrong? I don't know. I don't remember. No, I think it was. Anyways, I'm going to be reading this, and then we're going to be learning some things about wolves. Sorry if you hear my baby in the background. I think he just fell. Then I have Bad Eater and Other Names for Corazing by Kylie Lee Baker. Heard excellent things about this. A lot of people that I watch who read a lot of horror said that this was one of the best horror books that they read this year for 2025. So super excited to get into this, and obviously I'm excited to learn more about bats. But I heard that this is very gory and disgusting. Yes. And then I have Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. If you don't know, I love me some Stephen Graham Jones. Heard really good things about this as well. I know that this is a paranormal horror book. It's also historical. That's really all I know about this book, and that's all I really want to know. I like going into Stephen Graham Jones's books with not a lot of knowledge, just because that's how I always go into his books. But excited about this. This is an aardvark, so it has that like smooth silky cover. Love me a good aardvark book. And then I also have the Snowbirds. Do I remember who the author is at the moment? No, but this is a arc that I've had for a while, and I know that this is a thriller slash mystery about this older couple that goes on this trip during the winter. Somebody ends up dead. They have to figure out who killed this person. You know, a good thriller mystery. So these are the books that I'm going to be reading for this video. I'm not really sure which one I'm going to start with first, but we're going to read the book, then we're going to learn about animal facts. That's how this video is going to go. So I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. So did you know that alpha males, or like alpha wolf males, actually don't lead the pack? It is an alpha couple, and the female wolves actually have more say-so in how the pack is ran than the males. Did you know that? That's one of the weird, that's not a weird fact, but that's one of the wolf facts that I found when I was looking up facts about wolves. I also found out, and I heard of this, wolves don't actually howl at the moon, even though they howl at night a lot. That's just like to talk to the pack people, they're pack members, you know, but they don't actually howl at the moon because the moon's there. They're like talking to each other, which you probably knew, but yeah. Also, male wolves are freaking big. Like, I know that there are some dogs out here that are like 185 pounds and stuff like that, but if you think about it, a non-domesticated wolf running around with like no help from people making them like fat and stuff like that, they weigh up to 143 pounds. That's just a male. The females can weigh up to like 128 pounds, but they're huge. Like, they're big. They're not small, they're big. And I can see why, sorry, my nose didn't. I can see why some people like back in the day were scared of wolves, you know, and that's why they killed them. And that's why wolves are endangered and stuff like that. But dang, they are beautiful, and they are huge, and they are just like, I just want to hug them, even though I know I probably shouldn't. And then older wolves, like not like the young adults, but like the older ones, you know, the wise ones. They actually teach the younger wolves all of their knowledge, and that's how they spread the wolfness amongst the pack. And I think that's just really sweet, because if you think about it, like humans, grandparents, great-grandparents, just like stories that are told to you as you like down the line from all the other generations. I just think that that's really cool that the animals do that as well. And that just shows like how close we all are together, even though, you know, wolves are animals and, you know, anyways, I just think that that's really, really sweet that the younger ones learn from the older ones, and like the older ones, that's like their main thing as they get older and they start to give the other pack wolves the opportunity to just like protect and everything like that. And that's like the job of the older wolves, is just to teach the youngins, and I love it. I love that so much. And also another thing that I thought was really cool is that wolves can change the way rivers and streams flow. So in Yellowstone National Park, after a lot of the wolves were killed off, I mean like all of the wolves were killed off, the rivers and like the streams, the water in Yellowstone started to navigate different ways than it usually did, because the wolves, they kept the population of like deer and everything else that eats plants, the ecosystem like near the water and stuff like that. Once they killed off all the wolves, the water was able to expand because it didn't have all of the vegetation to keep the water like in a straight line. So I think that it's really cool that wolves have that impact on the environment, and that humans finally got their heads out of their butts and realized that wolves are not, even though they're like apex predators and stuff like that, they are not a danger to humans most of the time. And we need wolves in the wild because they help with overpopulation, they help with pollination, they just help out the ecosystems, and I think that that's so freaking cool. Wolves are super, super important. They're beautiful. I liked watching all the little videos that I got to watch while researching them, and these are just some of the facts that I pulled that I thought were interesting. I'm sure that you can tell me a lot more about wolves, because there's just so much to learn. And like wolf puppies, oh my god, they're so cute. I just want to like hug them. I also follow a few wolf dog sanctuaries on Instagram where I learn a lot of facts about them, and I just like to see how even in a domesticated environment they still have that wolf mentality, and like how packs are running everything. They have the dominant wolves, they have the submissive wolves, and I love how they are able to communicate amongst each other. And I just think that wolves are fascinating, and they're beautiful, you know? They are just freaking gorgeous. But with that being said, I did finish When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, and y'all, this book ripped my heart in two. It was so fast-paced, it was action-packed. This little boy and Jess, they had my heart the entire time. And this little boy, he doesn't get a name until like the very end, so she just calls him Buddy. And she finds him outside hiding in the bushes. He has run away from home. He has not a very good home life. And when she finds him, she realizes that his dad is after him, trying to bring him back home. And the little boy just doesn't want to go back with his dad because he's scared to death of his dad. And she realizes that his dad is a monster, literally and figuratively. And they go on the run. And she tries to protect this boy along the way and all that kind of stuff. And their road trip aspect, I liked it a lot. It was, like I said, it was just really fast paced. It was very gripping. When they were running on this road trip, they had to stop and sleep at hotels and stuff like that. And she realizes that there's something going on with this boy, and it keeps putting them in imminent danger. Like, she is almost dying most of this book. And it's so fascinating to me how Nat Cassidy was able to write in how fragile a child's mind is, especially when they are this age, when they are 5. If you think about it, kids, they watch all the time. And that's one thing that we have learned about having a child. Our oldest, he's 7, and even the youngest, he's 22 months, and he watches everything. We've had to really watch what we say, what we do, and how we act around them and all that, because they do what they learn. And this little boy, he is just terrified of his father. His father is abusive. His father, I don't know if he's physically abusive, but I know that he's emotionally abusive to this little boy, and he's terrified of him. And when you learn that there are actually people out here that are treating their children, and children in general, just people in general, it's horrifying to know that kids and people are going through this mental torment. And kids, even though they bounce back really quickly, and that's something that I've always been told, kids bounce back, you know, they're people, and you have to give them a stimulating environment, the ability to learn at their own pace, the ability to make mistakes, to screw up, to learn from their mistakes, to still love them while they're going through everything that they're going through. Because being a kid and being a teenager and just like growing up in general, hell, being an adult is hard. And when you don't have the support system around you to teach you those fundamental things when you were little, it screws you up. Like, it is going to mess you up. And this little boy, I just felt so sorry for him, even though some of the things that were happening while they were on this road trip, I was like, oh yeah, I know what's going on here. But he is the victim in this story. And I liked how Nat Cassidy wrote in the wolf being figurative and literal in this story, but also how vulnerable people are, especially kids. And it just broke my freaking heart. And the ending of this book, oh my god, I was so mad. So mad. Not at Jess, but just the situation in general and what that little boy went through. So, yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. Obviously, I gave it 5 stars. One of my favorites of the year. I don't know if it's going to be like tippy top, because I got some really good books that I read this year, but this is on up there. It made me tear up quite a bit, and it made me hug my babies harder than I do, and they squirmed and they were like, stop. But damn, it was a good one. And the afterword in this book too, I just wanted to hug Nat Cassidy as well, because he seems like he's a really cool dude. And when you go through childhood trauma and stuff like that, it can either make you or break you. And like, even if it doesn't break you, you still have a lot of crap that you have to work through, you know? So yeah, this was a good one. I am in the middle of reading the Snowbirds at the moment, and I don't know if I'm gonna give this a very good rating because the pretentiousness of this couple in this book is driving me crazy. We have Kim and we have Grant, and they have been a couple for over 30 years. They have twins together, like grown adult daughters together. She wanted to go to Palm Springs for a sabbatical. He does not have a job. They go to Palm Springs, and then he ends up missing. And this book takes you on the journey of their entire relationship. It is a deep dive into how Kim's feeling through most of their relationship and how Grant treats her. And I wouldn't say that he's an overall bad person, but as a partner and a lover, he is very selfish. And he wants what he wants, but he doesn't think about her needs. And it's starting to get to her, and she doesn't know if she wants to be with him anymore. But again, like I said, then he goes missing, and she's having to sort through all of her emotions. She wants him back, but then I think she also kind of feels relief. That book hasn't said that, but the emotions that I'm getting from her is that she feels kind of relieved that he's not there. But as the story progresses and we learn more about their relationship, he leaves her constantly. And he has these like man tantrums. And I'm like, dude, you need to get over yourself. Get over it. Like, you have a partner, you have kids, you need to get over yourself. I know that he has dreams and everything, but you know, when you have kids, sometimes your dreams have to be put on the back burner, and you have to be a good partner to your spouse or whoever you're with. And I am just really wanting to kick him in the balls. And then Kim, there's something going on with her. I don't trust her fully. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to give this book like a super high rating, because it's a chore to listen and read this book. It's a chore. Because I just don't like any of them. But I'll let you know how I feel about the rest of the book. So as I was saying before, the Snowbirds, it's not my absolute favorite book. It is more of a relationship study, character study, relationship study between Kim and Grant. And since they've been together for so long, they're going through a lot of, should we still be together? Do we need to go our separate ways? I want this out of a relationship. And when Grant goes missing, it forces Kim to really think about her choices. And then later on in the book, we also get diary entries from Grant, and he's doing the same thing. They're both in their own way thinking about the relationship, how they can get better, if the relationship is still a good thing for both of them. Because honestly, their relationship is pretty toxic. It's a pretty toxic relationship. And I don't know if they should be together, to be completely honest. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.5. It's about older characters basically having a lot of money, being snowbirds in Palm Springs. So yeah, but some facts about some snowbirds if you want to know. Snowbirds, their real names are actually Juncos, which I thought was really cute. For some reason I like the name Junco, but the reason why they're called snowbirds is because when people see them around, they know that snow is about to come, because snowbirds or Juncos really like to live in snow. Like, it's their thing, and that's how people in different regions know, you know, when it's about to start snowing and when it's about to start getting really, really cold. They also are really cute in the wintertime because they like their feathers, they get really puffy during the winter, and I don't know how to explain it. They get this like extra layer of feathers, and it makes them like really and plump and adorable. And I think that it's really cool. Like, we had a chocolate lab, her name was Mariah. I don't know if y'all remember her. She was in the videos like way back in the day, but she used to get her extra coats, and then throughout the different seasons she would like molt literally, and like tufts of hair would just come off of her. But I think that it's cool how animals know when the different seasons are coming before we even do, and their like body chemistry, their, you know what I'm trying to say, their their body knows, like, hey, you need to give me more fur, you need to give me more feathers, and I think that it's really cool. Sorry. The oldest recorded snowbird was 11 years old. That was crazy to me. It was like 11 years old and 4 months. But that was crazy to me because I didn't think birds lived that long. Like, I knew like parrots and cockatoos and all that kind of stuff, like the bigger birds, they live for a while, but like little bitty birds, I didn't realize that they lived for like 11 years old, and that's crazy to me. Funny enough, we have, I don't know what type of bird they are, but we have a little bird family every year that comes and they lay eggs in the interior of our porch lining. And their nest this year was really cool because they built the nest, but then they built like a little awning over top of it, and I thought that was really cool. But it's the same bird couple that comes back, and they lay eggs, and then they shit all over our porch, and then they leave. And I think that's really nice. When I'm sitting in my office doing my work and stuff like that, I like to see them fly back and forth, and they like to attack us too when we get too close to our when we get too close to their nest. But snowbirds, depending on the different regions that they're in, that depends their color, which I thought was also really cool. I just think, y'all, I think that like the animal world and the different colors of animals based on like where they live and just like their whole nature of how they do things, I think it's fascinating. I love looking weird stuff up. And there's a lot of other stuff too. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm gonna put all of the websites and all of the journal articles and, you know, all that down in the description box. So if you want to go look and look some stuff up too, it's there for you. But I'm a weirdo and I like to look up different facts. But those are just some facts that I looked up about the Juncos, snowbirds. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit and read some Stephen Graham Jones by, I was about to say Stephen Graham Jones by Buffalo Hunter, whatever. We're gonna read this, Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. And I have heard that this is a lot of people's like favorite Stephen Graham Jones movie of all times. But then I've also heard that it's like, it's mid. I think that I'm really gonna like this because everything that Stephen Graham Jones writes, except The Night of the Mannequins, I have thoroughly enjoyed. I don't remember if I've given him a 5-star yet. I think I've given him like a 4.5. If not, then I'll put the book up that I gave him a 5-star. Anyways, I love me some Stephen Graham Jones. I love how weird his books are, how kind of like out there they are. They're intense and they have a lot of meaning behind everything. There's a lot of meaning behind everything that he writes. So I am excited to get into this. I don't really know a lot about this. It's an Indian revenge story, which he writes a lot of with vivid voices of time. So yeah, he's like one of the only literary horror writers that I like besides Nat Cassidy. But would Nat Cassidy be considered a literary writer? I don't know. But Stephen Graham Jones, I love his books. So we're gonna read this next. So here's the bird's nest I was telling you about. The awning thing that I was talking about kind of fell off a little bit. I don't know why I'm so far away. Can't see it. Where is it? Focus camera. There we go. So there's like the little nest thing up there. We need to clean our porch. Don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to the nest. But the awning thing that I was telling you about, you can kind of see it like right there in the back corner. It kind of fell off a little bit. We've had some intense rain lately. But yeah, there's our little nest for a bird family. Did you know that buffaloes, that was my straightener, that buffaloes, males have a head structure called a boss? It's like the horns, you know, it's called a boss. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then a group of buffaloes is called a gang or an obstensity, which is a weird word for a group of buffalo, but okay. And female buffaloes are they're like the main ones that run everything. They tell the male buffalo what they need to go do and everything. And I also found it interesting too, because you know, every single animal has some sort of like mating call, right? But male buffalo, to show their dominance and their strength to get a partner, they rub their necks in the ground like this, and that's how they obtain a partner. I just think that animals are fascinating in that aspect, and it's just weird to me how different species of animals have completely different ways of getting a mate and how they show their dominance in the wild and all that kind of stuff. So I just thought those were interesting. If you know any more interesting buffalo facts, let me know. But obviously I'm doing my hair. I can finally lift my arms above my head for more than 5 seconds without it feeling like, you know, I'm gonna fall over, and not in pain, but just, you know, when you have to lift your arms above your head and it's not comfy. Maybe you don't know. Anyways, I did end up finishing Buffalo Hunter Hunter. And unfortunately, this was not my favorite Stephen Graham Jones's book. I ended up giving it a 3-star. I can appreciate the storytelling and the vampiric symbolism throughout the book. I just did not really like the journal entries that we got in here. I wanted more of Etsy's character than I did the journal part of it. Sometimes I have a really hard time with, okay, there's 3 different characters that we're getting the story from. And Etsy, we're getting it from a Lutheran priest, and then the actual Catman. We'll call him Catman because that's what he is. Did I just put that toothpaste? That's what he is, like that's what he calls himself throughout the book. And Etsy finds a journal in a wall from an ancestor of hers, and she starts reading it, and because she's trying to figure out what's going on in the town that she lives in. And the journal obviously is going to give her some sort of insight on what's going on in the town. So after she finds it, it's nothing but the Lutheran priest and then the Catman's storytelling throughout. I personally sometimes do not like verbal storytelling like that. It kind of, okay, if you ever had to read like Canterbury Tales or whatever in college, it kind of reminded me of that, because in the Canterbury Tales they're sitting around a fire telling all of these tales, and it gave me those vibes. And I most of the time do not like that kind of storytelling. I want to actually see it more than being told it, if that makes sense. And it was kind of boring to me for the most part. There were some really freaky scenes, as Stephen Graham Jones does amazing at, but overall I felt like it took me like a week to read this book, where I usually read a Stephen Graham Jones book in a couple days, and I kept putting it down, coming back to it, not comprehending what I was reading / listening to, having to go back and reread, and you know, all that. And it just, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it as much as I do his other books, which is sad because I love Stephen Graham Jones, but I wanted more Etsy. Like, we didn't hardly get any Etsy, and the ending of, like, the beginning of the book with her chapter and then the ending of the book with her chapters, I really, really liked. I was really into it, but just the story getting there was rather boring to me, unfortunately. But there are very, very gruesome scenes in this book, There are some scary scenes in this book. I liked the gruesome and scarier scenes because I think, like I've said before, Stephen Graham Jones, I think he can write the hell out of a gory scene and make you go, you know? And I felt that throughout this book. So 3 stars. It's not a horrible book. I can tell why a lot of people would like it, especially if you really like historical fiction. Because it is very historical, and sometimes I don't really connect with historical fiction books or like to read historical fiction all that much. And oh, here's the book. Sorry. Here's the book. So yeah, it wasn't my absolute fave, unfortunately. But on a different note, I started Bad Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. I keep wanting to call her Zora for some reason, but this book, y'all, this book is intense. It captivated me from the very first chapter. If you've read the first chapter of this book, you know why. I was like, dang, we starting it early. But this book is about Cora, and she loses her sister Delilah in a very traumatic way. And it's during the pandemic. She is Asian, Chinese specifically, and unfortunately during the pandemic it was said to be from bats, and it originated in China, and that's where the term Bat Eater came from. And there are Asian people that have been coming up dead, and as the story progresses, Cora, she starts to become a crime scene cleaner-upper person, which is disgusting in itself. I don't know if this author is a cleanup person, or has ever known somebody to be a crime scene cleanup-upper person, but she knows a lot. And I'm like, ugh, gross, you know? But Cora, she also has some mental things going on. So some of the scenes, I don't know if they're really happening or if she's just imagining it, but it is nasty. It's gross. This author does a really, really good job with all of the descriptions of what they're seeing at these crime scenes, and how Cora's mind is working, and how Cora just wants to like wrap herself up in a ball and not be around people, but she has to make a living, you know? And I really like the characters that she is working with too. One of them is female, and she is also Asian. And the other one, his name is Henry. They all work together, and it's like a found family aspect too. But I like all the characterization of them, because Henry is extremely protective, and what is her name? Ife? I think that's how you pronounce it, but she is very opinionated and outspoken, and I like how they all play off of each other and how they're not all the same character, you know? But Cora, she starts to see things, and I don't know if they're really there. I am also really liking the paranormal-y part of this book too, but I can't say too much because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But just know this book is nasty, and it is good. It's really, really good. I am enjoying it a lot. I did start it the other day while I was playing Sims, but I felt like I needed to restart it and go back and reread some sections, because when I started on the chapter that I was in, I was like, I don't remember any of this. And I'm so glad that I did, because I missed so much. Because, you know, being zoned in on The Sims was taking up all of my time. It was taking up all of my brain juice. So I'm glad that I restarted. So that is my update for you. I'm gonna finish my hair, and when I'm finished with Bat Eater, we'll talk about some bat facts, and I'll, you know, yep. Did you know that there is a specific type of bat called a bike bat, that the males actually produce milk for their babies? Did you know that? Also, did you also know that all bats have belly buttons? I thought that was adorable. Like, you probably already know that, but when I read that, I was like, oh, that's so freaking cute. And also, female bats, you know, they mate and everything, but they save all of the sperm that they receive for the spring, because that's when bats have babies, is in the spring. I thought that was very interesting. They have like a little storage pouch. I forget what it's called, but they have like a little storage pouch where they just store all the sperm. Animals are wild. No pun intended. And also, bats can swim, and they use their little wings like oars. I also thought that was adorable. But yeah, bats are very intriguing to me, and I've always liked them. I've always liked them. They're so freaking cute. Like, you know, they're just like cuddly. Some of them are ugly, but fruit bats, I just want to like cuddle them, you know. They're so fluffy and they look like little flying dogs, and I absolutely love it. Which is a great segue into this book, because I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 5-star. I was in it from the very beginning. Like, this book captivated me. That first chapter, I was like, dang, we're going in hard. And I just felt so sorry for Cora throughout this entire thing. She's had so much loss in her life, and she doesn't know how to deal with her grief. She just, I don't know. I just wanted to give her a warm hug. Like, I wanted to give her a big old hug. And the paranormal twist that was in here is freaking creepy. It is so freaking creepy. I'm not going to tell you any more about this book because I don't want to spoil anything, but just know it's disgusting. Like, because you know Cora, she's a crime scene cleanup person. That's her job. The author does not shy away from like the gory details of that, which I appreciated. I kind of got like a couple times went like that, but like this book is just so freaking fast paced, and it never stops. Like, it does not stop. Even at the slower points of the book, it doesn't stop, because the paranormal stuff starts happening and I'm like, oh my god, like if I saw that, I don't know what I would do, you know. But yeah, yeah, this is such a good book. If you haven't read it yet, you really need to. It is fabulous. It has a lot of social commentary in here too. It might piss a lot of people off, but I appreciated it for what it was, and I can't wait to continue on reading from this author. I can't believe I think this is a debut, right? Is this her debut book? I don't remember if this is her debut book or not, but I'm not sure. If it was a debut, damn. But like, yeah, I can't wait to read from this author again. It is superb. Okay, so I had two. Let me go get the other book. I had 2 5 stars in this video, and I am so happy that I had 2 5 stars. I mean, okay, so When the Wolf Comes Home and Bad Eater, and both of these were in the Goodreads Choice Awards for reasons I wish these two like would have won over the actual winner, even though I did really like Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. I really did like that book, but these 2 books, they had so much substance in them, and so much, like, just so much in them, you know, and I loved them so much. I'm so glad that I read them. And this vlog to me, or this video, whatever you want to call it, to me was just super fun. I can't wait to continue on with this. I already have the next set of books set to the side, and even though like the animal facts, they might have been facts that you already knew or whatever, or like well known, I just liked getting to research and learning about all the animals, and just something new to me, or maybe something new to the internet. Anyways, I really enjoyed this. I hope you did too. Please let me know in the comments down below if you want to see a specific animal featured, or if you have any other books that you want me to read. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to suggestions, and I will see you on the next video. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.